Hey everybody, welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how the Call of Duty Vault is the new Disney Vault and expensive Krispy Kreme donut boxes. It's going to be a good one because we have Mat Piscatella on the show. Matt, how are you doing?
Hello, Jeff Grubb. Hello to the chat. What's going on?
Yeah, not much. Glad to have you here. Glad we can make it happen. You've been up for a while working, plugging away at the new Circana report, so we'll talk about that and more. But let's check in with you. You playing anything right now? You got any games that are keeping you busy? Is it all still the show? You playing the spreadsheet baseball games? What are you doing?
I've been getting into Dusk Fade a little bit.
Hey, yeah, me too.
It's a really good time. I really appreciate kind of like the old school PS2-ish platforming. The combat's fine, but I love the environment, and you just kind of go and you fly around, and it's been a blast.
Yes, I was impressed with it right away. Their ability to replicate the energy of the PS2 platformer in a way that didn't feel like we're just fans who are just trying to make this game. It feels like it could be one of those games. Feels like it could stand right alongside a lot of the stuff that was happening on the PS2. I'm curious to stick with it. I know I saw some people had some complaints about the end game, but that was also characteristic of those games back then, where suddenly they turn into weird collectathons or whatever in bad ways. I want to see it for myself. But in terms of the tone, in terms of the character and moving it around, I'm into it. It's very well done, and it runs well on the Steam Deck, which is always a positive for me. Other than that, how's your summer been going?
Oh, pretty good. There is one other game I wanted to hype up a little bit. It's called Twisted Tower.
I'm playing that as well.
Oh, you have been? All right, cool. I really did kind of like the retro. When I saw the 3D Realms logo,
yeah.
I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
As an old, really like that. But kind of having that BioShock field combat with the crazy dudes in giraffe costumes, kind of flying around and hitting things with a mallet and turning them into confetti. That's been a really good time too.
Yeah, sometimes I just want to play a shooter. I want to just play a game where I'm running around and going through corridors. And this one has enough of the that style of cool stuff happening, and what weird clown is going to be waiting for me around this corner. And that's not just some insult. They are clowns often. It's got a fun tone, and it's not over the top and aren't we wacky and random? It all feels cohesive. I don't know. I'm really into it. The same thing happened to me though. I booted up. I forgot it was 3D Realms. Saw the 3D Realms logo, and I went, "Oh, okay. I know. I kind of have a good idea of what I'm in store for."
And it totally fits. I'm like, okay, yeah, it has that kind of DNA of that kind of heritage, which has been fun. I don't know, it's cheap, it's short, great. I'm all about that right now when it comes to games. So, but yeah, man, other than that, summer, it's been hot. Watching my Padres go up and down, feeling good, feeling bad, given the day. Right now, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yep.
Fernando Tatis Jr., he's really fun to watch. And so, yeah, man, that's about it. Hanging out and being groovy.
Yep, I was. The Tigers were in a wild card position for the first time in a long time for about a half an hour. That's over now, but it was fun while it lasted. So I'm in the down period. Yeah, I still believe. I think that team could score a lot of runs, and at least recently, and their pitching is actually better than you would imagine after trading away the best pitcher. So we'll see what happens. Wow. Plenty of season left. Actually, weirdly. All right, you know what? Let's get into it. Let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb. Go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member to support independent games media. We are a bunch of internet video game doofuses, and we want to keep doing things our way. And we can do that. Thanks to you for the people who have joined up and become members. It means the world. We can go on road trips. We can go to stuff like PAXs and things like that, and then we can make all of our weird shows with your help and bring in our friends to do even more stuff in the future. We have ad-free versions of all of our programs because of the premium support, and we have plenty of premium exclusive shows you can only get if you remember. Most recently, we did do a live premium-only stream for the reveal of the new Premium Blight Club, where Jerf is playing through Catwoman, which is incredible. I actually did get that data point from you, Matt, that I forgot to bring up. So next episode, I'm going to have to mention where that ended up as in terms of GameCube sales. But yeah, that has been a lot of fun, everybody. So tune in for stuff like that by going to giantbomb.com. patreon.com/join. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with July 2026 U.S. video game market highlights from Mat Piscatella at Circana. U.S. video game spending dropped 10% in July, year over year, to $4.5 billion, despite the debut of several hit new releases. We can kind of just start there, Matt. Spending down in July, I think, new releases were there. So often we get these comparisons where it's like, there was absolutely nothing, and that's why it's down. That might still be the case in some part of this, but really, it feels like maybe people are running out of money. What do you think?
The market's been holding up exceptionally well, given all of those challenges in everyday spending, like food and housing that we've been experiencing over the last couple of years. The big difference over the last few months, of course, is the price of gas. And that's had an impact on spending across categories. It's not just a gaming thing, but I think we're starting to see a little bit of that in the gaming world in particular. And I know we don't usually talk about mobile too much when I join you, and the audience for Giant Bomb generally probably more focused on like the console and PC, but the mobile market is the most general. It's the biggest. It's about half of overall content spending, give or take. And what we're seeing in the mobile market right now from our friends over at Sensor Tower, and I think it's reflective of kind of like this bigger overall trend, is a slowdown in spending on mobile. This is the category where people will spend a couple bucks here, a few bucks there. Now they're starting to pull back a little bit. And I think it's reflective of a general trying to ease on spending in more luxury, superfluous categories because the price of gas is so high and the price of groceries is so high. So I think we're starting to see a little bit of that enter into the picture, as well as the year ago comparable of Nintendo Switch 2 had a record-setting launch and all of these other things. But I think in that mix, we're really starting to see those higher prices in the everyday spending, normal living categories really starting to impact the dollars available for stuff like games.
Yeah, and this was July. People were not just hearing gas prices were going up; they were traveling, so they were seeing those gas prices going up, and it was maybe hurting them a little bit extra. The people were also probably still planning trips later in the summer, and maybe even buying plane tickets and starting to think, oh, that could affect that kind of travel. So yeah, people tightened things up, I think, starting in July. I mean, we have to kind of be wait and see now what's going to happen with these follow-up reports, because it's not like gas prices have stabilized. They did a couple of times, and now they're not again. It looks like it could be worse than ever here pretty soon. So, this is not a story that's going to go away, and that is something that affects everything. I think when we talk about this market being resilient due to consumer spending, or the consumer spending being resilient, that's true across all the markets in the United States. For the most part, consumer spending somehow very resilient. But the gas prices is the thing that feels like it could be the dent in that armor, where everyone, for the most part, notices that. So yeah, some other details here. Let's see here. The hardware market comparables continue to be impacted by the record-setting June 2025 launch of Nintendo Switch 2. However, the challenges extend far beyond simple cyclicality. Higher hardware prices driven by the RAM and component crisis have significantly impacted the selling rates of both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, with a price hike for Nintendo Switch 2 hardware coming on September 1st. We still haven't if anything, we're still in the portion of that where it's they're selling more Switches because everyone anticipates that coming. But even despite that, we're seeing the spending on hardware kind of dropping because people are not willing to pay that much more money, and it's a saturated market. It's kind of being attacked from all angles, right?
It is, and unfortunately, we've had experience now seeing a few of these price increases over time, and generally, what we're seeing in terms of trend is, for example, when the PlayStation 5 announced its price increase in April or whatever it was, We saw an immediate uptick in sales of PlayStation 5s. And then as soon as that price increase was put into place, we saw a pretty significant downturn for a while. And that lasts for a couple months, and then it starts inching up again as people kind of absorb the new price. But it causes a lot of chaos in terms of the demand curves and how that's working. And so now, we've seen it with Xbox, we've seen it with PlayStation. Now we're going to see what the impact is on Switch 2, which of course continues to be the best selling hardware device in terms of units sold on a month to month basis. And I think we're really starting to see a breaking point potentially coming up for when it comes to prices, particularly on the Xbox devices. Their sales rates have slowed down so much now. And I don't think we're done seeing the price increases there, but these price increases are impacting everything. And of course, given what's happening in the RAM world, we could be seeing supply constraints hand in hand with the higher prices. It's a really awful recipe and a really scary mix for the console market in particular.
Yeah, there's no obvious solution here. There's no not even unobvious solution. There's just nothing to be done about this for the near future, and we're seeing it reflected in the numbers. People not willing to show up for many of these prices. So yeah, that is, like you said, it's a toxic mix for the future of selling these things. Nintendo Switch 2 sold the most units. PlayStation sold the most in terms of dollar sales. I think we can probably continue to expect that because the price of the PlayStation significantly higher, right? That's going to kind of just keep happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's the assumption, and we really don't know when new price increases could come. Historically, you'd see price decreases over time that were predictable. So you could put a hardware forecast out for an entire generation, and as long as you got the launch number right, you could generally figure out the rest. Now, who the hell knows, man? Who the hell knows when the next price increase is going to be dropped? What scale that price increase is going to be, or if there'll even be units there to sell at those prices. And I think everyone's being impacted this from console to PC to whoever's making any hardware device that has chips in it. It has the potential to be cataclysmic to the market. And then, of course, the question becomes, well, then what happens? And you're starting to hear more conversation around, well, it's going to be a cloud thing, or people will play their old stuff, and no one really knows. But all we do know is that this market's going to be significantly impacted for several months or years to come, given what's happening on the component side that you guys talk about every time I tune in. So yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, I was talking about this, I think maybe on the Bombcast, the recent conspiracy theory that once the demand slows for AI, whatever that looks like, or they move on to new data centers, the old ones left around will be like, hey, maybe we can use this for cloud streaming video games. And I think that is wishful thinking, but it's definitely, I think I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people doing that exact kind of wishful thinking at major video game companies and being like, that's the answer. And so, okay, good luck with that.
Yeah, everyone's just trying to figure it out. When Strauss-Zelnick in his call, was it last week, 2 weeks ago, what is time anymore, said that the addressable market could be increased 10x with cloud. It's like, I mean, okay. But, everyone, not just fans, but people in the industry, everyone's trying to figure this out, and no one has the right answer. No one knows exactly what's going to happen next because we're in, we live in interesting times.
Yes, unfortunately, we do. The greatest insult of all time: may you live in interesting times. All right, so then we do have the July 2026 U.S. projected top 10 best-selling games ranked on physical and full game digital dollar sales. Number one, everyone's, the tip of everyone's tongue, 2012's Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which is a straight-up port. And God, man, it still doesn't click sometimes. I'm seeing here in the next column, publisher Microsoft. That's right, Microsoft gets a lot of this money, or gets 70% of this money for the most part. Yeah, man. When did you notice that this was happening? When you were looking at your numbers, that this thing seemed to just be flying off the shelves or digital shelves?
The digital shelves, yeah. First saw it in our player engagement tracking, the day one user counts on this thing really popped, and it was like, wait a minute. I mean, I was expecting it to come out, be like, okay, like, a couple million people might get it or whatever in the US, but it was significantly more than that. And of course, it had that discounted price for Plus subscribers at launch
Right.
and changed later. So there was all kinds of promotional pricing in there too. But boy howdy, do people on console like buying games, old games again. Holy crap. And this one in particular, Black Ops 2 just I mean, apparently there was a yearning for this game on PlayStation, which really drove this performance in particular because of that PS4, PS5 port. But a lot of people bought it. A shockingly high number. Uh, I don't know, man. Like buy and play new games, people. There are so many fun new games. Buy those. What are you doing? But anyways, whatever people like to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's this 2010s nostalgia is something we also talked about recently. It seems to be at a fever pitch. Number 3 here, Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced from that same time period.
The campaign evolved. Probably not as well as some people expected, but I thought it was a really good showing for a Halo game in 2026.
Yeah,
Halo is not Halo anymore, but a pretty respectable showing overall. And yeah, man, like I don't know if I was sitting on some old games right now, I'd just be remaking those too, because people buy the hell out of them. What are you gonna do?
yep, exactly. It is. I think maybe we'll find the limitations for this, but it does seem like right now, if you're one of these big companies and you do have stuff to mine from 2008 through 2016, that is a cohort of gaming fans that are ready to get back and get into their nostalgia, maybe for the first time. Actually, that's maybe what is partially happening here. And the older ones like Halo, maybe we've done that dance so many times now that it doesn't have the same effect anymore. So. I wonder if a lot of the companies will be looking around and be like, hey, what can we do to sort of replicate this? It's not like that's going to be super easy. Not all of them are Call of Duty Black Ops. Not all of them are Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That's a really well-regarded video game. But I still think that there's going to be some trend chasing here that I'll welcome. I'll be fine with that. I think these companies should be supplementing their revenue by bringing back old games. I'll point to it a million times still in my life. Just do what Capcom's doing. Bring back old stuff to sell that to make money while you wait for the next main entry and do a good mix of both. And I think that these companies will begin looking in that direction. We'll see what that ends up looking like. EA Sports college football. You mentioned this would be number one if you combine the MVP bundle with EA college sports football. How has that trended over the last couple of years since we've seen this return? Is it like, oh, that is still maintaining its strength?
No, it's been coming down each iteration since the first one, but of course the first one was the best-selling sports video game ever, in
Yeah.
the US, and had a unbelievable launch, which took the entire industry by surprise. It's come down every year since. It's a fraction of what it was in its first year. Still big enough to lead a market, but it's not maintaining the momentum of the first game or even the second game. As people kind of settle into knowing what this thing is. So, and of course, there was a couple controversies around it around the launch, including the monetization, and so maybe there's some pushback there. But in any case, still a really big video game, but not the biggest video game ever made in terms of a sports game. So,
Makes sense. It is worth pointing out Call of Duty Black Ops 1 also on this list at number 5. They got ported at the same time. And I suppose I should reiterate that for people who don't. These aren't remakes, aren't remasters. They are just ports of the PS3 game to PS4 and PS5. That's all they are.
And they charge you for the DLC on top of it. Like, and people bought the hell out of them. I don't know, man. Like, I want to believe in the video game console player, but boy, oh boy, like they make some choices.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm looking at the now the top 10 best-selling games of the year so far, year to date. 007 First Light moving up to number 2 beyond Crimson Desert. That game is just a success, right? Just outright a success.
Yeah. And, right. And having a single player campaign, cinematic, big production value game can still sell. And boy, I sure wish we had more of those coming out. Maybe even someone like Sony could have put out a few of these in recent years and haven't. So it's really great to see. It shows that there's still a demand for that big cinematic experience.
Yep.
When so many publishers have turned away, particularly towards more live service, it's a high risk business, but when a game does hit, it can do really well.
Absolutely. Anything else from your report that you think is worth mentioning? We got a couple other stories here that we're going to touch on, like the one from Reb about Xbox physical games. But anything else you want to mention?
No, we can get into the physical stuff a little bit, sure.
Yeah. So nobody's buying new physical games on Xbox in the U.S. This is from Rebecca Valentine at Kotaku. Although I remember Kelsey Lewin was saying this. She runs a store where she sells physical games, and she'll order Xbox copies, and she points out almost no one buys them. And she looked at it from a collector's point of view and been like, so in several years, when you're like looking for the Xbox version, that's going to be the hard one to find. So maybe that's the one you should be collecting, but we'll see. Anyway, Rebecca writes, amid worries about the disappearance of physical media as PlayStation prepares to discontinue discs in 2028 and Xbox is expected to follow suit, today we've got an interesting statistic on the breakdown of who is buying physical discs for which platforms. Apparently, only a little over 4% of all new physical video games sold in the U.S. this year were for Xbox. According to Circana's monthly report, 63% of new physical games sold this year have been for Nintendo platforms, while 32% were for PlayStation. When they asked you, Matt, to confirm the remaining percentage for Xbox, you pointed out PC also had some physical special editions this year for like 007 First Light and Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So that left 4% for Xbox. And she's got several reasons for this, but my first gut reaction here is that Xbox Series S did sell pretty well. Maybe that and then Game Pass, you just combine those two things, and that's an audience that stops buying physical games. Is it more complicated than that?
Not particularly. I mean, Microsoft as an ecosystem has always been digital forward in terms of the transition over time. It's gone overwhelmingly digital in recent years, and given all of the conversation around the physical market, I just wanted to be able to highlight, hey, here's the landscape right now. The implications on the Sony side are significant, particularly for the physical market. If a third-ish of the market disappears overnight or over time, as it's only new games, not whatever, but
right.
A third of the market being
much faster than if they just let it wane naturally, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you could get another 5-7 years out of it, but instead they're going to do this hard cutoff. So that has pretty significant implications to the market overall. It shows how important Nintendo platforms are to the physical market and the retail market in particular. Like, what matters to a Target? It's going to be Nintendo. And what doesn't matter to a Target or a Costco? It's Xbox, because the high price of the consoles, and they're not selling software. So it's like we're seeing these dynamics play out in real time about where and how people are buying these things and their preferences. And, we could talk about a lot of the similarities between the two devices in terms of the content and play styles and all that. And there are a lot, but there are also some pretty significant differences in player-based preference, not just in the kind of games people play, but where they want to buy them and how they want to play them. And that's a great point by Kelsey. Yeah, if you look towards the future, if Project Helix is a PC device, then it's going to be able to support physical drives theoretically, like add-on drives. And so the lifespan of a Xbox physical disc could maybe end up being much more significant than the life of a potential PlayStation disc. I don't know. There's all kinds of implications,
of course,
and what this all means. But I just heard so much conversation and some stuff, in reality, and other things not so much in reality. I just wanted to give a data point that says, okay, here's a snapshot of where we're at.
You might have mentioned that there, but yeah, in the story, you talk about July was an all-time low for tracked Julys in terms of total spending of $85 million on physical new game software. Do we chalk that up to when I look? Let's look at new games, Assassin's Creed Black Flag recent. Maybe it's like Call of Duty Black Ops 2. A lot of people are just buying that digitally. Is that kind of reduce the overall number, or is it that's just part of the natural trend?
It's more natural trend. The all-time low, I was looking this up for Reb. I think it was May 2025. I don't know if she put it in the article. So it has been lower, right before the launch of Nintendo Switch 2. We hit an all-time low, which is still the all-time low. So we're still in this neighborhood. It's not like we're seeing these new dips. This is just kind of where this market is and has been for some time. Although no one's really noticed because it's been a 13-year-long decline, right?
Yes.
Like it's been a slow decline. It's the frog in the pot kind of thing. And it's been such a slow decline over time that a lot of people just didn't realize where we were at. And, this is where we're at. Now, I totally understand and empathize with every physical game fan out there, the ownership implications, the being able to share all of those
I mean, even
factors
as
that
a
are so
digital, someone
important.
who buys all digital, like not having, like, I make the choice to go digital, but having the choice is important to keeping prices in check. Like, it's going to affect everything negatively, and not, yeah, but what can we do about the trend that is very obvious when you look at the numbers?
Yeah, if you want options, then people have to execute on those options, right? Like
Yep.
if you want an independent games media, you have to support independent games media. If you want physical games, you have to support physical games. And as a total market, we've been transitioning away from that, not just from consumer choice, but also by publisher decision, manufacturer choice, like all of these factors combining to put us in this position. And okay, well, now what? Like, what happens next with not just the retail market, but the mass market, right? If you're a mass market consumer and you don't know there's a new Madden unless you see it on shelf at Walmart, do you even notice? Do you even buy Madden? Like, so it's those kind of things that over time are going to become really interesting to see the impact from the loss or the lessening in importance of retail.
Yeah. Do you have a sense? We got to move on here pretty quick, but do you have a sense of how? I mean, obviously, retailers aren't going to like it, but what the likelihood that going forward, when these games are all codes and boxes, that a Walmart is going to want to stock that? Like we talked about with Xbox, they already know they don't want to do that. But PlayStation, they probably sell PlayStation games. So does PlayStation have enough of a leg up with these retailers to still kind of force these things into retail, where maybe the cut's going to be less than they were getting before, or what?
I mean, in the short term, yes, but what does PlayStation 6 look like in terms of price,
Yeah.
availability, support for retail? Now that it's not going to support new physical games, am I less likely to carry that as a retailer, or am I likely to shrink its floor space, shrink its area? Maybe. I'm going to lean in on Nintendo because they're supporting me, so my Nintendo section is going to get bigger.
Right,
And where's that going to
like,
come
there's no
from?
risk of that going away anytime soon. Like, obviously, they just launched the Switch too. There's no chance of that going away anytime soon.
Right. So it all depends on a lot of things that we just don't know the answers to right now in terms of the next generation and when is it? Because right now, apparently, it's maybe not 2027 anymore. Given Sony's recent comments, it's making me really want to move all my forecasts to 2028 or later. Um, so we're gonna have to see. There's no certainty right now in terms of what
Yep.
happens next.
That's what companies love too. No certainty. All right. Let's see. We should hit this one before we go to the break, because it kind of just wraps up all this whole conversation. The dire forecast of, like, let's just put some numbers to this. If a PlayStation 6 and an Xbox Helix are $1,000, what should we expect from, like, how many fewer consoles will they sell relative to the last time we did this? Well, Ethan Gotcha Kotaku has a story where Ampere Analysis predicted the install base for those next-gen consoles could end up being 38% smaller if the hardware is priced at $1,000. And honestly, at this point, $1,000 feels like, are we going to even get it at that price? Because we're talking about a PS5 Pro that today is $900. Next year very easily could be $1,000 itself. And then what is a PS6 after that? $1,100, $1,200. It's just not out of the realm of possibility at all at this point. So we're like, this is like almost a best case scenario. Is this sort of like in line with what your gut tells you, what your numbers tell you?
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, it's a reasonable estimation of
Right.
what could happen. I mean, the error bars on this kind of thing are
Sure.
quite
Are
large with any
massive.
kind of right. But I mean, it makes sense looking at what we know about price sensitivity. And this doesn't even really take into account availability. So say if you're a PS6 and okay, now you're 2028, but you could only get enough memory to make 1.5 million consoles instead of 3 million. Do you price it at $1,200, or do you go, well, we know demand is going to far outstrip supply, so why not $1,700, right? Like, so
And
those
they've
kind of
regretted not
things.
doing that in the past. In the past, where the demand was much greater than the supply, and like in the PS, 5, what did it launch at? $500, and it sold for way more than on eBay for a very long time. And I think they regret that. So that they might still be carrying those lessons despite what's happening with the price, right?
Yeah, and if you look at the current environment and future environment, when line must go up and you're talking about limited units, you have to make a lot more dollars per unit. If you have smaller
Right.
users, you have to make a lot more dollars per user. And Sony has signaled this in their reporting before, where they said, our plan for growth is to increase the average spend per user. Like, that is their number
Yep.
one goal.
That's the
And
whole
how do you do
strategy.
that? How do you do that? Yeah, their number one strategy to do that. And how do you do that? You increase prices. You try to do things to incentivize additional purchases. It just is what it is, right? And so, how is that market going to react to that? Well, um, price sensitivity does hit a wall at some point, even though video game fans, like the most enthusiastic video game fans, are relatively price insensitive, meaning they're willing to pay more for certain things. The general mass market audience is not, and so you at some point you hit a wall, and
Yeah.
when that wall is, I don't know, but we could be getting there.
We're probably gonna find it. Is like it feels like we are going to find that wall and all notice and be like, okay, yeah, there's the cataclysmic wall that
There
Matt
it
was
is.
warning us about. Yep,
Yep.
fantastic. All right, let's take a break. When we come back to plenty of other stories to get into, so we'll do that after this. If you want to skip out on these ad messages, you can do so. We have ad-free versions of the show at giantbomb.com/join. We'll be right back. All right, it's Game Mess Mornings. I'm Jeff Grubb. That's Mat Piscatella. Let's continue along here with the next story. New Sony patent discusses the possibility of AI that grinds games for you. This is from Lewis Parker at Kotaku. A new AI-focused video game patent application from Sony has surfaced online. It describes the use of agents trained on player data to play games for people. Why grind for XP when an authorized bot could do it? Even more dystopian, the patent mentions the possibility of players exchanging their training data with one another for real money. Weird. As spotted by Cheat Happens, Sony's patent, which was filed in 2022, but it was only officially published last month on July 23rd, details the technology of generating an agent to play a game on behalf of the user. Some of you may remember a similar patent published by Sony back in January, which featured an AI-controlled ghost that would complete games for you. But this new patent dives much further into Black Mirror territory. You see, while the previous patent states that AI could be trained on gameplay footage, the patent instead features an AI that would be trained on the user's actual gameplay habits. Figure 11 of this patent shows that the AI could then be programmed to perform specific tasks without user input, such as collect money, proceed story, and boss battle. It's basically just like really blown out drive-atars is what I think they're describing here. That's not true. The truly weird bit, though, it also states in the first and second embodiments, in a case where the user data of another user is used for generation of an agent of the user A, the game system, one, may construct a mechanism to receive a payment from the user A for the use of the user's data. Basically, in plain English, like you can buy or exchange money for access to someone who's like, oh, they play in a way that I wish I was playing like, so I buy their data and then insert that into my drive-atar, my very special AI boy, and let him go play the game that way. Look, it's a patent. We know how these things usually go. These things, the research and development team couldn't be more disconnected in many times from the reality of what goes to market. But these are the kinds of things that they're looking at, and I don't know what's to make you feel, Mat Piscatella.
Makes me feel sad. And it makes me feel it's just a deep sadness. I don't even want to buy the person who came up with this idea a cupcake. Like, I want them to not have any cupcakes. For even
Yes, they
having
should
this
think about
idea.
what they've done instead.
Yeah. I mean, what do you even say? Like, it's just what are we doing? Like, why? And yeah, like, you want to get past the grind, right? It's like, in some ways, like, as an MLB The Show player, if there was some way to get through some of that grind so I can just get the packs, it's like, but then, like, what's the point? And then,
Yeah,
what's the reaction going to be from the company trying to sell you packs? It's going to make that grind even more difficult. So I don't know who wins with this. I don't know why or who this benefits, or how. So I don't know. I hope it goes nowhere, but it makes me sad that people are thinking about this stuff. But whatever, man. 2026.
it is very much like a downward spiral, like you said. Like right, like if the make it so you don't have to spend as much time. They'll make it harder. God, that's such a good point. And those things will just match each other until when I go to like check in on it, I'm like, what is going on in here in this room that is on fire? And you're all running around trying to put it out. Yeah, that would be very depressing. All right, well then let's try this one. The first big GTA 6 debate is here. Cars needing gasoline. This is from Zach Zweisen at Kotaku. Lots of Kotaku stories today, by the way. They're doing great work over there. Shouts out to Kotaku. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Over the last 48 hours, leaked gameplay footage of Grand Theft Auto 6 has spread across the internet, and these clips seem to indicate that Grand Theft Auto 6 will feature some sort of fuel mechanic, possibly forcing players to stop and gas up their cars periodically while driving. This has reignited a long simmering debate in the Grand Theft Auto fandom over the topic of cars needing gas. Some players are excited for the added immersion. Others hope Rockstar lets them turn the feature off. On August 18th, a person going by the alias CyberLeak posted, this is that hacker we talked about earlier this week, posted what appears to be early gameplay footage of GTA 6. This person also shared what looks to be the game's full map, as well as another gameplay clip on Wednesday. In some of the leaked gameplay footage, you can spot an icon that seems to indicate how much fuel is in the car's gas tank via a meter around the icon that depletes over time. This fuel gauge icon can be spotted in two different clips when Jason enters different vehicles, including a semi-truck and a car. Because these leaks look like they could be from older builds, we currently have no idea if this is a feature that is actually going to be in the game or how it will work. But but online, a majority of the GTA community is assuming the fuel gauge icon will be in the main game, and that it does indicate that players will need to manage their car's gas and fill it up from time to time while playing. For many in the GTA fandom, this is a huge detail that some are excited about and others are already dreading. Weapon degradation for cars. It's here. We got it. We finally figured it out. I'm the kind of sicko who, like, when I hear this, I'm like, yeah, that does sound. I like thinking about that kind of thing. I like the idea of I'm in a battle, I'm in a fight, and I make a run for it, and I steal a car, and that car is on E. Like that's drama to me. I think that's a cool idea. Do I think that is how this is actually going to be executed? Probably not. I don't really know what to expect. But I think what actually comes to mind here first is, as people have pointed out, this is something that has been in Grand Theft Auto role playing for a long time now. It's also been a conversation among fans for a long time now. This is something they've asked for, and some have said, please don't do this, but some have been asking for it for since Grand Theft Auto 4. And so the idea of this, them seeing it work in GTA role play, where apparently it does work very well, but that is the whole idea of that thing. To me, this is indicative of this idea that maybe for Grand Theft Auto 6, they are kind of building it with the biggest mega fans in mind, the people who are playing these games in a way that is you can only describe as sicko mode. And they're trying to bring that to the single player experience, and they're kind of trying to infuse that from the beginning to end of how you experience Grand Theft Auto 6. And I always just worry, are they losing the forest for the trees? Are these details getting in the way of coming up with a more exciting overall vision of Grand Theft Auto 6? We're going to have to just wait and find out, but I don't know. What's your reaction, Matt?
93 days until this thing is finally out, and we can not have to... I think it's indicative of just how much passion and how people are looking forward to this thing, that this has become such a huge story. Sure, man, I don't know. I trust Rockstar to make a fun video game. If there's something in there that's around this, I'm guessing they'll make it fun or interesting in some way. What was it, Burnout Paradise, where they had gas stations that would repair your vehicle if you ran through
you drove through them, and they give you a boost and a repair, I think. Yeah, maybe
there's, who knows, right? But every day there seems to be another GTA thing where it's people are a little excited about this, and boy, would it really be cool for this game to finally get out so we can
I mean, it's going to be, this is the start. Like he said, the first debate is here, says Zach Zweisen. It's not going to be the last one we have before this game is out. We're going to have 100 more of these, and it's going to be a nightmare. But I'm curious at this point. I will be diminishingly so as we go through these over the next several months, and I have to bring them up as headlines over and over and over again.
Yeah, man, 3 months, dude. Just 3 more months of this, and then we get to have 10 years of discourse around what the game actually is. And
Yeah, I mean,
and hey,
if not only if only 10 years, it's probably gonna be 20 years before we get Grand Theft Auto 7. But yeah,
and well, I won't be alive for Grand Theft Auto 7. I'll give you
me
that.
neither, probably. Yeah.
You know, but like, and then of course, what's GTA Online? But hey, that's a
Yep.
whole nother topic.
And they will not mention that at all. It seems like in this Netflix thing,
Uh,
it seems to be the expectation that like that is going to be
so
something that comes up later. And yeah,
what up with
I'm
that?
yeah, I don't blame them for that. But that is something where it's like, man, just get the GTA 6 out that needs to come out first, which is the single player stuff, and don't fuck up Grand Theft Auto Online and how it's making money. We can maybe just like respond to the single player criticisms first and be a little bit more ready for GTA Online 2 or whatever it ends up being. But no matter what, that is going to be one of the most interesting transitions that's ever happened in video games. Getting
Oh
getting
my
all
god,
those
dude.
people spending all that money to move from one thing to another, or if they have some way of just like the old thing turns into the new thing, whatever it is going to be fascinating.
Can you imagine? I don't think the worst job right now must be like being the person who has the ultimate call on what that transition looks like and what
Yes.
they're going to try to do. Can you imagine like
No.
the pressure on that? Like, I mean, sure, there are a lot of worse jobs, but I wouldn't want to be the one making that ultimate call or push or making that PowerPoint deck. Like, no, I'm good.
I would
I'm,
want to be that guy's gastroenterologist where it's like, here's your ulcer medicine and stuff like that. You keep coming back to me. I know you're stressed out and your body's deteriorating. So you keep paying me for that. That's the real job to have.
oh man.
All right, the Duskbloods previews are out. Let's go over some of this. So Jake Decker played it. A bunch of other people played it. Let's start with this. The Guardian says it's coming out September 24th or something. Seems like that date was a mistake. The person who wrote the story, I believe, and I had to actually chat track this down. Thank you all, chat. Where apparently the person who wrote the story said the editor maybe did an errant Google looking for the release date, put it in there, and this date came up, or they just made something up or something, put it in there, and it got posted with that date. Doesn't sound like that's real, at least at this point. So we don't know when it's coming out, but we do kind of have a better idea of what it is. So overall, the reactions have been, I think, surprisingly positive is the right way to put this, because just about everyone who has written a preview mentioned they were going in with skepticism. And then they said, because they were expecting just a PvPvE sort of Souls multiplayer game, and that it's much stranger and more flexible than that, and that they came away wanting to play more. That is also something I've seen a bunch of people who have played the game say. The basic structure here is 8 players enter a large map and compete across 4 timed phases. You accumulate virtue to survive each cut. You can get virtue by killing monsters and bosses, exploring, finding hidden objectives, completing character-specific sigils, or fighting other players. You absolutely do not have to spend the whole time in the match PvPing. So you can decide to go in another direction, go fight the NPCs, play the game as a single-player mode, and then you can still make the cut. But at the end, you are going to have to fight other players. So it is going to turn into a multiplayer thing by the end of the match. That makes the early phases feel like a compressed solo From Software adventure happening alongside seven other people. Game Informer said it could wander around fighting AI enemies and exploring while barely engaging with other players and still reach the end. Then it becomes progressively more competitive by the end, as I said. People are also pointing out that there were a lot of viable strategies. Siliconera says you don't need Souls-level parrying ability to succeed. You can explore, farm regular enemies, hunt bosses, snipe from afar, or lean into PvP. CG Magazine similarly said that the systems sound overwhelming on paper, but start making sense very quickly once you're actually playing. And then there's a bunch of different characters that have very different ways of playing. I'll just describe some of these real quick. One is a sniper who can become a swarm of insects and has a Gatling gun in her chest. Another is a senator who can turn into a dinosaur. Another is a giant armored diving suit character with missiles and a harpoon. And yet another is a guy in long underwear with a pot on his head who uses an axe and fire. That sounds like a party to me, Mat Piscatella. What do you think?
Video games. Congratulations, sickos. You have a new one.
Yep.
I mean, it sounds unique, cool, interesting. It sounds like a game that I would play for 10 minutes and go, I hate this and quit. But I love that it's here. Really looking forward to see what people think about it. But yeah, this seems like one of those games that the sickos are really going to get into.
Yes, I think it does seem like it has the potential to like at least do similar to what God, what was the multiplayer Elden Ring called? Night Rain. It seems like it could just do like Night Rain did. Now, the people who are worried about this game because they really want another single player one, I think those fears are still going to be justified. Where you maybe if you're wondering about the longevity, am I going to go into these matches and they're going to feel the very same over time? At the very least, it sounds like there is variety in the kinds of characters you can play as, but is the exploration going to feel different? We don't know that yet, really, and we're going to have to play it to find out. But there are,
Yeah.
yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. And will a meta develop that kind of wipes out any other strategies over time and all of that other stuff? But conceptually, it sounds like a unique take on all of this stuff. And yeah, man, sure. Why not? That's great. Video games. Love it.
Decker did a good job of kind of getting some excellent like, hey Miyazaki, what are you thinking about this game? What are you trying to go for? And I think one of the things he found was this sigils system and how it creates drama between the characters. He says these are like small challenges or objectives that link two of the players, the real player characters, together. And it's not like, okay, now you are linked together, go kill that one. It's much different than that. Sometimes it is that, but sometimes it is, let's see, you have to ally with them instead. Sometimes it's you have to like hunt a heretic together. Or sometimes it's you have to go propose marriage to this other player.
Sure,
Like
man.
you do. Yeah.
Yeah. With a pot on my head,
With
shooting fire out my butt. Let's do it. I love it.
just like I got married. Exactly. That's how it worked.
Great.
That's how it worked. Okay. So at the very least, sounds weird. Sounds like interesting and different in a lot of ways. And this, as a reminder, is a Switch 2 exclusive from Software game that they are making in conjunction with Nintendo. So that alone makes it very bizarre. But yeah,
It's also weird. Great, man. Love it. We need this. This is why you love video games, man. Not Call of Duty Black Ops 2 port.
yes, preach
Like
it.
this is video games. Hell yeah. Let's rock
Let's
out,
go.
man. Let's do it.
Yeah. I am. I'm looking forward to trying this. I'm going to be playing this weekend in the test. So I'll report back as much as I'm allowed to. All right, then. Final story here before we kind of wrap up the week, or wrap up the next 2 days of the week. Pokemon Krispy Kreme boxes are being listed for ridiculous sums of money. Darren Bonthus at GameSpot writes that the Pokemon franchise is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year with various promotions, and the Krispy Kreme collaborations is easily the sweetest team up. Like all things related to Pokemon, a box full of Pocket Monster donuts has attracted the eyes of resellers looking to make a quick buck on used and sadly empty boxes from the promotion. On eBay, you could find several listings for the Pokemon Krispy Kreme donut boxes, with some users asking for upwards of $100 per box. Look, I get it, but I don't actually.
All right, so we started the call talking about, or started the chat talking about how people are really struggling to
No one has
find
money anymore.
because of gas. And here you go, buy a box for $100 and buy a Pokemon card for 26,000. Like I don't know, man. Sure, dude. You want to buy a
Yep.
box?
Knock yourself out.
Live your dream, brother. Like,
Yep. No, I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum when it comes to this. You do what makes you happy. I'm surprised this makes you happy, but that is where my commentary on this ends. You go do what you got to do. I'm a little surprised. There is one person who is selling it for $25,000, and maybe that's the optimism I'm not into. Go. Maybe that's not a cool thing to do, you weirdo. All right, this week, today, Mortal Shell 2 launches on PS5 and PC. We do have a review up. Chuck wrote that. Go check it out, everybody. They also talked about it on the Bombcast. Let's see here. Stalker 2 gets its Cost of Hope expansion. And then tomorrow, Call of Duty Next begins Friday, August 21st at noon Eastern, followed immediately by the Modern Warfare 4 Early Access Beta at 2 p.m. Eastern. Beta preloading starts today at noon, so right as soon as we're ending the show in a couple of minutes. The first open beta begins August 28th, and that's when you can try it out on the Switch 2, which I will be curious about, actually. I will want to just see that for myself.
hey, Jeff, did you go back in the day to that Call of Duty obstacle course event in LA that we did when I was over at Activision?
I don't know if I did the obstacle course. I did the one where they kind of did it at a military museum that had a Blackbird, one of the SR-71s, I think. And I remember being like, "Oh man, this thing rules." But I did a couple of the events. Maybe there was an obstacle course at one of them. I never did it though.
Yeah, there was one with like you got in jeeps and then you exfilled and you climbed ropes and stuff. Anyways, Call of Duty's been a whole insane thing for like 20 years now.
Non-stop.
Anyways,
Yep.
just curious, yeah.
Yep, they are the one game consistently still having big like promotional events like this. That's not something you still see a lot of.
No,
All right. That does it for the headlines. Let's start wrapping the show up. We have a poll question from yesterday. Let me get the most recent and up-to-date results. All right, let's see here. Have you ever played Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, which got reissued onto GOG, where they did some extra work there? And I have, and so is 63% of the respondents. 37% says no. I think that says a lot about our audience.
That's fantastic. Those are great.
Yes.
All three of those games are fantastic. And you know what? They're still fantastic. Play some
Yes.
old games. Those are great.
Yeah. Go play Sands of Time if you have not yet. What a great game. You'll see how influential it is, including influencing Catwoman, the new Blight Club from GiantBomb.com. All right, we have a new poll question we'll get to in a second. Before we do that, though, Matt, do you want to tell people where they can find you on the internet? If that's even something you want to do, if you want to have more people following you, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm over on Bluesky. Come hang out. We can talk video games all the time at Mat Piscatella with one T in Matt because my mom was on the drugs and misspelled my name on the birth certificate when after I was kicked out of there. So anyways, find me over there. We can talk video games all you want. Ask questions. Always happy to help people learn about some of the wackiness of the business side of this big goofy industry that we all love. So yeah, find me there.
Sounds good. Fantastic. New poll question. Having to fill up your car with gasoline in GTA 6? Sounds good. What is fun about that? Those are your options. We'll get the results and talk about it on tomorrow's show here on Giant Bomb. Speaking of Giant Bomb, a couple of things. That will be Friday's show, so we will not have a new poll question tomorrow. We'll have the Bomb 12 instead. So go submit your game for the Bomb 12. We'll get the games that people are into in this community. Go to giantbomb.com, scroll down. You'll see the Bomb 12 on the right. On the left, there's a vote here button. If you click on that, it'll take you to the form. Make that happen. Should be very excellent, once again, as always. And then also tomorrow, we're going to be doing UPF, hanging out, playing some Marvel Tokon, some other games. It'll be excellent. And then, lots of cool things have been happening on the website as well. So just go to giantbomb.com. That doesn't just mean like, oh, we're making content. The website itself is cool. Chuck does work constantly to make it a cool place to hang out. The forums are great. That's got a great community. He's building new features all the time, including there's the tier list maker, which just uses our wiki. So it's not like you have to go find the art yourself. You just type the game in or the character in or the concept. It'll just populate for you. It's a very handy tool. So go check that stuff out and more. All right, with that all out of the way, let's get out of here. Matt, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure. Always enjoy it. Thank you so much for asking. Always good to hang out.
Thank you all for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, take care of yourself. Have a good one, and goodbye.